Welcome to one of the most expected moments of IndieX. Well, usually for me, it's actually doing the entire IndieX and doing all the streaming sessions, talking with developers, playing their games, asking their influences, what drive them to make these games. But now I think everyone wants to know who are actually the winners of the several awards that we have to give this night. But before we start with the first award, I think it's good to talk about how IndieX 2025 happened. So this year we broke all the records in terms of submissions. So it was 934 submissions from the entire globe, and we ended up having 852 games accepted for several reasons, because some submissions didn't have playable builds, or because some submissions didn't have the games released inside the window that usually our rules ask. But it was really, really interesting and really exhausting to go through all these games. And regarding that, before starting the actual ceremony, let me just give one message to developers, because I've been talking with some of the creators around the globe. Some of them sent me some messages regarding IndieX 2025, expressing sometimes their sadness for not being chosen. We have to tell you, when you have almost 1,000 submissions and you only have 50 finalists, you know that these awards usually, it should not represent in any sense your quality or your self-worth regarding your own game. Events are like this, they have limited number of slots. And we really loved so many games. We're going to go through exactly how difficult it was to choose the 50 finalists later in one of the later categories. But for now, it's what I wanted to tell you is, obviously there's a lot of talent around the globe. So not being part of IndieX, it shouldn't affect in any sense how good your game is. This being said, we have several awards to award this night. Sorry for the redundancy. And I would like to ask my first guest, which is Ana Martins, that you know as a streamer as One Ring Wraith. And she was part of the streaming team for this year. Ana,
yeah.
How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. And I'm doing great. It's been an honor once again to be part of IndieX and to see, especially when it comes to the video games industry as it is right now, it's more and more important to highlight the indie games in the industry.
It's good that you talk about it, especially when it feels like creativity is kind of, well, the capacity of risk is not that big, especially with big budget studios. We have to rely on indies to surprise us, and also because we're going to introduce the Most Fun Award to give us joy and bring us the purest of fun. Tell me, you've streamed several games. Like this year, I think you worked a lot during our streaming sessions. Yeah. Which was your favorite game that you streamed and played with the developers? And which game that it wasn't you hosting that streaming session, that you enjoyed the most?
I cannot. That is a very unfair question, and I wasn't prepared for this, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to even answer. I mean, I don't know. I have to say that I for some nights I didn't sleep that long because of some of these games. Deck of Haunts was one of them.
Oh.
Royal Survivor was another. The Darkest Files. The Darkest Files, yes. Well, Dispatch, it got released yesterday, so.
Yeah.
But I don't know, so many of them were so much fun to be there and to be talking. One that I was really, really hoping for, but I couldn't be doing was Hellclock.
Oh, yeah. The one, it was an action RPG that represented a pretty unknown or barely unknown massacre on Brazilian history. Yeah. The War of Canudos. It was a really amazing game, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was probably not the most fun, but I mean, I like those kind of, I have the most fun in those kind of things, which is probably not the most common, I would say.
And now we're going to introduce our nominees. So maybe I would like to ask our chat. I don't know how many people are watching now live, but does anyone has any idea who is going to be the winner? Who was your most fun game to watch or that you wanted to play? Because I know that several people that watched this from these last 55 hours, they immediately went to Steam page to wishlist the games and to try the demos. And I was reading that during the chat. So please tell us on the chat, who do you think is going to win Most Fun Award? And with that being said, Anna, what do you think if we see who the nominees are for Most Fun Award?
Let's see them.
Yeah, let's go. Before we announce the winner, I have to do something because obviously people know that this is a work of passion for all of us, but we had an amazing streaming team with us this year. So many people that contributed and they spent hours, not only in the chat, but also live talking with developers. And I'm going to do something that people that know me know that I usually don't do this because I like to address people by their own names, but since you're all streamers, and I think it's important for people to recognize you on Twitch, I'm actually going to use your handle. This is something new. I usually don't do this. But obviously I want to thank Wandering Wraith, but also Melgacius, Split Screen, Sir Becas, Your Mother is a Fish, Commander Bonnie, Rufox, André TGV, Sir Becas, Hurricane, and Neo Up Your Arsenal. Thank you so much for being part of IndieX 2025, for spending the time with us and talking with developers, having fun, entertaining us, because there are some streaming sessions where we are alone, and those are really challenging. And I think the team made an amazing job. And I really would like this to exist outside of just IndieX. So let's see what we can finally do after IndieX finishes. So Anna, without further ado, we announced 2 months ago that IndieX has been growing a lot, so we decided that we needed an advisory board with personalities from the industry that we thought that they align with our mission of helping indies across the globe. And we asked them to be the ones announcing the winners, because I think it's a really, really important thing to include us in this process. And our first guest and the first award announcer is a member of our advisory board. It's Fred Sang-wook, CEO. He is the CEO from the Red and the founder of Game Icon in Korea. He's been helping us a lot in the last 12 months, bringing and asking us to curate games for Asia. So this is news. I think we're terrible communicating stuff. So this last 12 months, we've been curating and bringing some of IndieX's finalists to Asian events. Be it, I think it was 2 in Korea, in China, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong. And it was Fred that asked us to do this. And it aligns with our mission to bring talent further possible. So without further ado, let's ask Fred to announce who the winner of Most Fun Award is.
Hello, I'm Fred from South Korea, CEO of From the Red. I've worked as a game developer and released more than 5 games. Now, through my platform Zenpai, I help indie developers around the world go global. It's a real honor to announce the winner today as an advisory board member of IndieX. So, what is the essence of a game? Yes, it's fun. Games begin with fun and they end with fun. We make games to bring fun and we play them to feel it. Now, with great pleasure, I'm happy to announce the winner of Most Fun to Play. The winner is Royal Revolt Survivors by Team Warriors. Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
It was a game that both of us played with the well, we were talking with the developers. Yeah, I've been barely sleeping because of the game, so
Yeah, same.
it was well chosen.
It's same. It was an absolute blast to actually have this fresh take. And I mean, I was on stream with you and talking. I mean, we weren't that great. Let's face it, but I spent the rest of the night trying my best, and I got to actually finish that first map, and I kept on playing since then.
Me too, and I know you did this because I watched the achievement saying like Wandering Wraith just unlocked this achievement. And we actually have the award winners with us for a quick chat on Discord. So... Oh, Felix,
Hi.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. It's an honor to be part of this. And I mean, winning this award is, we didn't expect that. I'm sorry that I'm alone. The other two guys are at home.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
also
kind
at
of
home,
late,
as you
so
see.
yeah, it's understandable. By the way, I don't know if you heard this, but me and Anna, we played well better when we were not online
Yeah.
than we played on
Of
streaming,
course, of
okay?
course.
So now
Yeah,
I
yeah,
unlocked
yeah.
every single character, by the way.
Yeah,
I didn't reach
nice.
that yet,
Yes.
but I've implemented some of the suggestions in my gameplay, and it went way
Yeah,
better.
me too. So it's like going God mode, isn't it, Felix?
Very good. It is. Yeah. It's I'm a bit overwhelmed by this right now because, as you said, with so many submissions and so many good games, and I also watched the streams, and I mean not all of it, but I also had to make patches for the game. But yeah, it's really an honor to win this.
Felix, it's really well deserved. Please give our best to the team. I think you made an
will.
amazing job. If you're watching this, please, we already said this before, but go to the Steam page of Royal Revolt. Someone on the chat might be pasting it. Go wishlist it and go check why it was awarded the most fun to play this year. Congratulations, Felix, and all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Felix.
Thank you.
Anna, thanks a lot for being with us. So let's prepare not only for IndieX 2026, but whatever is in the near future.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Anna. So we already know who the most fun award is, but now it's time to talk about something. Obviously, with my background is in art, and obviously this award is usually one that is really important for me. And we're going to talk about Best Art Direction, and I would like to ask André Luiz, the CEO and co-founder of Trojan Horse Was a Unicorn, which is a really unique event, one of the biggest global events for visual arts and for concept art. And it's really a pleasure to have someone that has an aligned vision to contribute to art everywhere and help artists and creators with us. So, André, how are you?
I'm good. First time being here, so thank you for the invitation.
And I was able to bring you that. I'm really happy because I've been following your fight to create an event that is a global reference for artists.
Thank you for that.
And just out of curiosity, did you imagine when you started Trojan Horse that you would go on to do not only Trojan Horse, but now a spin-off event in Japan like Trojan Horse Storyteller that had Hideo Kojima like one of the main guests? Did you ever thought that would be your end game?
Well,
not end game, but at least.
Well, the vision was doing that. If you ask, thinking about that, for me was impossible. When I started Trojan Horse Was Unicorn, the first edition, I only knew one international person. And I'm from Portugal, starting a project called Trojan Horse Was a Unicorn, so it was not in my dreams that I will accomplish, was in my dreams to actually, I wanted to do it. But 10 years later, being connected with Kojima, George Miller, Jonathan, Tim Miller, and go on is quite interesting to say.
And in 10 years, the different industries that you have contact with, especially the video games one, have changed a lot. And you contact with people from across the globe too. Have you seen an increased interest from, for example, indie developers to attend Trojan Horse and understand how Trojan Horse can help them go to the next?
There's a huge change. Like since we started 11 years ago, 12 years ago, there was a lot of the people that actually used to go, they used to work at AAA games and big companies. And now the indie era is arriving. So we have been seeing this for 3 years now. And it's growing and growing and growing. And we are seeing every day, and we are receiving emails every day from tribe members and outsiders, like asking for help and guidance because they are starting something new and becoming an artist, to become an entrepreneur. It's not the wording that they are used to, but when they decided to do a game, they need to start understanding about marketing, for example, like managing teams, etc., etc. And it's a path that now we are seeing that they are starting to understand they need to step up, so they are reaching for help. So there's a lot of changes happening at this moment. The indie era is arrived.
And we noticed this not only with the news, but also at IndieX. And obviously you've been feeling this. Have you noticing an increase of artists that work for really big companies that now they decided, I really want to do my passion or my art project, and starting their own companies?
It's everywhere. But that started like 3 years ago, not with AI. In the last 10 months, we see like a booming. Again, in terms of, for me, it's a dream come true to see all this like new blood coming to the market, bringing new stuff, like a different vision, because allow the artists to actually step up in terms of knowledge and be more aware about their importance in terms of society. And they are starting to understand this with having more power. They will show their skills in a different way. We'll start to have more respect for the art world eventually.
Yeah. We have how is the Portuguese saying that goes? Necessity stimulates the.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Do you feel this, like, since indie developers have financial constraints, they have smaller teams, you're also seeing the capacity to create in a different level than bigger teams, for example?
I think that's for sure. But what we are starting to see now was like there's a lot of threats in the market. There's a lot of fear. So what we are seeing is like to go to the next level, you need to actually be super good. And being independent, you have the time, you have like the agility to actually do it. So indie brings that for sure, and allows you to fail faster and having the mindset in a different way, different budgets. It's really interesting to see all this movement that is starting and is pumping in the last couple of months. It's been super interesting to watch the changes.
And when you started THU, it was really interesting to see that before even the big trends of talking about community, you already had that vision, like the Trojan Horse, the Trojan tribe, and how much that networking and direct contact between artists and creators and even entrepreneurs helped some careers. Do you think nowadays, even with the struggles of the market, that is more important than any time?
Well, 12 years ago was important. Our vision was it can only be better if you surround yourself from different profiles. So a lot of people see THU as an art event. But since the first edition, for nowadays, we are not only an event, we are a global community. But since the first edition, we always brought the technical side, obviously the art side, but we had a lot of technical side, from the business side, from actually engineers. And now it's really interesting after 12 years, and our networking is 36,000 people nowadays. It's easy to actually go to the platform, and if you want to build a team, you can actually find the resources you need in an easy way. That is the most interesting things. And for me, it's like what we are trying to teach everyone is like, if you really want to succeed, it's not only about networking, it's surrounding yourself from different profiles. Because when you do a game, you need to be an artist, a developer, marketeers. And that is, when you are an artist, you are stuck in your bubble. Or engineer, you are stuck in your bubble. And that's interesting that after 12 years, what we have been building in terms of framework allow you to actually be ready and faster and agile to actually find the teams and the resources, what is interesting.
But nowadays, for example, for the developers that are now watching us live, how could they use the platform that you built to look for, or even?
Well, for now, that in terms of what we are doing, it's like we are developing the THU platform for 2 years. That is a business development platform for creators, and now we are launching several verticals. Now we have the talents, and the mentorships, the education side. And in terms of production, by January we are going to have a lot of tools in terms of production. I think for everyone outside the world, what they need is like a safe place to actually reach out and connect and develop. Outside the bubbles, let's say this, and going to the THU platform, you can actually find that in a way.
Yeah.
But there's other interesting projects around the world. THU is not the only one, so they need to go and find several angles.
And obviously, that's something that me and you, we aligned in terms of mission, is the fact that in our ways, we've been more than anything try to help talent across the globe getting the further possible.
Yeah, it's true. It's even as a Portuguese, now we are connected with more than 180 countries. All the events, even in Japan, that was last month, we had 56 nationalities, I think. In the main event, normally you have 85 nationalities, and online, it's a different animal. And the goal is creativity is everywhere. Yeah. It's not stuck. And actually, what you're trying to do as a giving back project, because at the end we are a giving back project, is like we have, as in Europe or United States or even in Asia, we have more possibilities than other geographies. So our goal is to build the bridges between all the geographies so we can help each other and figure out ways to actually improve ourselves as a creator economies developers. So that's the goal. And it's the only way to do it.
Yeah. I have a question not indie related, but I think now that I mentioned him, I believe many people in our chat are thinking about it. How was having a legend like Hideo Kojima as one of your main guests for this year's event?
It was weird even for me. Like I had this conversation today. I had the chance, and I visit Kojima office several times already, but my biggest concern when he was there was he's a superstar, and that we oblige him to be like 2 days. Normally he goes to an event and he leave. For me was at some point he will leave and will be super awkward. So I was super afraid, and didn't happen. He actually enjoyed being there. He spent a lot of time there. He had dinner with us. There was no VIP treatment in a lot of ways. Obviously there was some diva side. But what's interesting is super cool guy, and more cool that people believe. He's really, really cool. So it was interesting.
I'm just going to leave this here. If someone wants to explain this on the chat, we actually have someone really close to us that had first contact with Kojima in a place that I think nobody else had. But I will leave just this teaser, and the explanation will go afterwards. Okay, it's not Andre. It's more awkward than anything you can imagine. Please read the chat, because for sure someone is explaining that. Without further ado, Andre, I think it's a good thing to check who our nominees for Best Art Direction are. What do you think? Let's go.
Let's go.
And it's this what we were telling. Obviously, when you have big budgets, it's harder for you to be risky. But when you're doing your project with a smaller scope, a work of passion, it's easier for you to do your own identity, your own vision for games. And I think it shows in the nominees we have. And well, I think the best thing now is to know who actually won the award for Best Art Direction. And I would like to ask another one of our advisory board members. In this case, it's Christian Fonnesberg. He's CEO and head of IP at Leverage, and he will be the one announcing who gets the award for Best Art Direction of 2025.
And now, Best art direction. Hi, I'm Christian Fonnesbeck. I'm founder and head of IP at Leverage. So this award celebrates not just what we see, but what we feel when we see it. The winner has a very playful imagination, an exquisite eye for emotional detail, and he can make weirdness funny. The IndieX Award for Best Art Direction goes to Unboxing Mr. Chu by Nacho Rodriguez. Congratulations.
It's Unboxing Mr. Coup, an amazing game. It's a sequel for the series of Mr. Coup by Nacho Rodriguez, who is a sole creator, he's animator, he's a programmer, he's game designer. It's an amazing game, and unfortunately, we don't have Nacho to talk with us, but congratulations, I think it's really well deserved. Obviously, all the other nominees and even other finalists were they deserve this award, but Unboxing Mr. Coup is something really different, completely hand animated, traditional animation, and a really creative game, and congratulations, Nacho. Andre, so before you go, next stages for the THU.
We are still understanding the next stages. There is the 2026 main event that we confirm in Japan that we are developing, where eventually will be something new that will have a big part focus in pitch and investment. Something that we are bringing. We have been cooking this for 2 years, and now we are ready to have like at the same level that you had at some point, like in terms of recruiting one of the biggest in Europe. Now will be hopefully one of the most important events for seeking for pitch guidance, most important pitch guidance. And the second is like investment, proper investment for the project. So it's like the next step that we've been working for a couple of years, and now we are ready to go.
Amazing.
So that's the next step.
Congratulations on the path you created with THU and the spin-off events, and really happy to have you here.
My pleasure, an honor.
Yeah, and please keep helping creators and artists across the world.
We will try.
Thank you, Andre.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and with this, I think it's time we talked about the most fun game. We also talked about the best art direction, but let's talk about innovation. And who best to talk about innovation this year than my dear friend Daniel Rodrigues. I always have to read your entire title. So he's the head of young adults and teen content at RTP, the national broadcaster in Portugal, the one that is also having us here. Daniel, how are you?
I'm
1 year later, 2 years later, you're
20 years later. How many years has it been, actually? 10? Close to 10?
closest is
Well,
yeah. This is the
named
ninth.
IndieX, like,
Named IndieX from 2018, but the first event was 2016. It was when you were still behind the microphone. You weren't still a management guy.
Yeah.
You were still asking everyone about doing interviews and all that stuff. So
now I'm what they call a suit.
you're a suit.
You're
yeah.
the one wearing it.
You're a suit now. Yeah, you're a suit.
Yeah.
But
It's a pleasure hosting you, as always.
it's cool about talking about innovation, because a few months ago we had a podcast, a conversation that we talked precisely about that. And I was asking this to Andre, but I will extend the question for you, because you work in a national broadcaster.
Yeah.
And we spoke about, for example, different budgets and how you have to be sometimes with less budget and less financial capacity. You have to be like twice or 3 times more creative.
Yes.
Do you correlate this with what indies do?
I'm sure it does. I 100% agree. I do believe that with more budget comes more responsibility, and
It was Voltaire that said that. wasn't
yes,
it?
exactly. The exact quote. I remember the day. But the thing is, in entertainment, or gaming as part of entertainment, and broadcasting as part of entertainment, we are going through troubling times and changes. And I do believe that in times of, I wouldn't call it crisis, but in challenging times, it gets hard to take risks. And the bigger the budget, more likely, the less the risk, because if it's not a sure thing, you're not. When you have a $300 million budget, it cannot go wrong. If it goes wrong, a company goes under. That's just the way it is. So I think it's up to the independent developers or the independent creators or the independent content creators to take risks, to push the envelope, and to make sure that there's new things ahead. Otherwise, we're going to keep watching or playing or doing the same things all over again. And no one wants that, right?
Because allow me to do this parallel with national broadcaster. And in the last 12 months, I've been following what you and the channel have been doing. You've also been supporting some smaller projects, even from national creators.
Yeah.
And exactly that, I believe the budget should not be equal as, for example, the BBC, but
wish.
You wish, yeah. But the responsibility or the capacity of creators or TV creators to go the further possible with the budget constraints.
Yeah.
It might also be really interesting, like the solutions people get.
Yeah. You need to be inventive. You need to be inventive when you have a lower budget. Otherwise, you're not going to get the attention that you deserve, I guess. So.
Another difficult question, although I think it's going to be, I know more or less what you're going to answer to this. So usually people think about innovation and correlate it with bigger companies or bigger budgets, but that's not always the truth. Not even on broadcasting.
Yeah, most industries, the innovation comes from the challengers, and the challengers usually have the lower budgets. You need to step up into the big guys, and in order to do that, you need to do things different. And that's the way it always has been in most industries, I guess.
Yeah.
And indies are the perfect example of that. Like most AAA games are not inventive. They're just a formula that works, and they're great most of the times.
And they even bring some ideas that they are proven successes from the indies.
Yeah. Some of the best ideas in gaming or most of the best ideas in gaming come from indies, right?
Yes. And I think that might be happening the same thing. So just another parallel, and obviously we've been discussing this a lot, me and you, in private. You could correlate that with cinema, for example, because I've been telling you, and you're always like, don't be like that, saying blockbusters don't move my needle in any sense. And I'm always looking for our specific platform that we're not going to promote now, but that has lots of indie.
And it's a cycle. Like even in cinema, like A24 were the indie darlings, and now they're becoming major. So it's a cycle. It's up to the lower budget teams now to bring up the indie cinema now. So
the last movie I watched, because I was completely submerged with IndieX, was actually an A24 movie.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they are good, but it's cool when I think it also happens with indies, like when they grow and you still look at them as indies, but now they have the budget. Well, some of them are millionaires. Obviously, there are outliers, but
the success stories are. I guess.
But I think that's also good. It's a good example, A24, what happened in cinema, to see these really good independent creators becoming, I would not call it mainstream, but at least big enough that their creations get widely recognized.
Even in the indie space, it's tough for an indie company to succeed a big hit. Like how like Hades, for example, like Hades 2 is amazing, but is there innovation in between the first and the second? You can say the same about Silk Song, right? There are a few innovations, but it gets tough with the more pressure.
It's a responsibility for that. For sure. And I think it's a good time that we did this parallel with the TV and also cinema to see who are the most innovative games or the ones nominated for the most innovative award at IndieX 2024. So please, let's go. And especially who watched the streaming sessions here at RTP Arena during this last 55 hours, they will understand why these games were nominated for the most innovative, because there are so many good ideas here that eventually I would believe that some AAAs might, I would not use the verb steal, but let's call it like
That's what they do. Come on.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Inspiration, okay?
Stealing is the biggest form of flattery. Is that
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
say?
yeah.
Is what the capitalist pigs say, right?
And I think it's time. I think not now. We're just spending here philosophizing around innovation, but I think the best thing is to actually know who was considered the most innovative game of IndieX 2025. Someone here told me that I said the wrong year, but 2025. And I would ask another of our advisory board members, in this case, a person really dear to the indie market. He's been helping lots and lots of creators for the last 10 years, 15 years. He's Callum Underwood, and he is the co-founder of IndieBI and WooWooBiz. So please, Callum.
Hi everybody, my name's Callum Underwood and I'm thrilled this year to be able to announce the winner of the Most Innovative Game Award at IndieX. Innovation is what makes indie games truly special, and this year's winner really stood out against the rest. So I'm very pleased to be able to say that Traptix have won with their amazing game Xenopurge. Thank you.
Xenopurge. A really, really creative game. Really creative game. It's amazing the capacity that the team had to reinvent some genres and mix them in this project is completely astounding. And it's I think we have the winners with us to chat and to react to their victory of this most innovative award. Traptix, the authors of Xenopurge. Do you think we have them here?
We should, right?
Maybe it was the aliens that run across the labyrinths of the game that took them. I hope not.
Hopefully they managed to purge them before they did.
So yeah, we're just gonna do some puns around the. Yeah, we're not. Because we have, I think we have. Do we have the authors? Yes. Yeah. Hello, congratulations.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Thank you very much for this. It's a huge honor. Thank you very much.
Were you expecting the award?
Actually, I really like the other games. I've played a lot of hours of Lake of Legends, so I think this is an even bigger honor. I didn't really expect it, but I feel honored, truly.
And we were just talking about this, like what you did with Xenopurge was really creative. Like you mixed genres, and
Yes.
you're obviously a fan of the Alien IP, and you decided to reinterpret it with your own perspective. Did you feel the risk? Were you afraid of the risk you were having by doing a game as different as Xenopurge?
To be honest, very. This started as a very small project. It was very experimental, and to be honest, when we started it, it went through several different iterations. It is a small project. We've only been working on it for like a year, but within that year, we've been playtesting. We've had the early access. We've had several rounds of feedback among thousands of players, and this has been saved from the community as much as it has been saved from us.
And what's next? Do you think your drive is still to innovate in your next game, like try different things, explore different ideas?
We've always been doing weird games, in a sense. You can call it innovation, you can call it weird, and this is like a confirmation. This is like an acknowledgement that sometime innovation is rewarded, and it's not just us doing weird stuff. Other players enjoy this. There's other people that acknowledge this thing, and it's definitely a very big moral boost for us to keep going. Xenopurge still has a lot of work to do in order to get through early access, and then we will probably go for consoles and updates and possibly DLCs if the community still, is asking for this. So there's a lot of ground to cover still.
One last question. Are you ready for when a bigger studio gets inspired by some of your ideas?
I feel we have gotten enough inspiration from them, from the big AAA Alien franchise, the Dark Descent, or the Warhammer universe. We've gotten enough from them so they can get something from us as well.
This is a classy answer.
That's cool. That's cool.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you very much, guys.
And please don't forget to go and wishlist Xenopurge and obviously the other nominees too, because amazing innovation, amazing creativity in this nominees. So please support indies and play really, really good games. Congratulations on your award.
Congrats.
Thank you very much, guys.
Danny, so next year we have to discuss which award you're gonna be here talking with.
Yeah, you one of these days, if I keep skipping around awards, you're gonna have to create new ones, right?
We're already thinking about creating new awards just to have you like 10 more years, each year talking in a different
Let's sign the agreement, 10 more years. I'm good for it.
In our side, and because obviously you're the head of the project and or the head of the umbrella of the project. I don't know. Is this strange?
Yes, it is the umbrella.
Thank you for your support. Obviously representing this big house for us called the RTP.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Actually.
Thank you for supporting IndieX and supporting indies across the globe. I think you're doing an amazing job and doing a public service like what we believe that public service should be.
You are the guys doing the public service here, hence the platform being given. So it makes total sense.
Danielle, thanks a lot and see you in 2026.
Yes, next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And now we're talking about innovation. We just checked the most fun award and the best art direction. But now we're getting closer to home because we obviously started as a Portuguese event. And for us, our main drive when we started was also to help the best possible the Portuguese industry. And we are really proud to have this recognition and having a selection of the best Portuguese games. And we are also happy to be able to do this with a really important partner that we think is doing an amazing job taking the industry further, the Portuguese industry further, which is the Portuguese Game Developers Association. And it's with great pleasure that I have here Diogo Rato, the Executive Director of APVP, the Portuguese Game Developers Association.
Thanks for having us.
How are you?
I'm fine. We've been seeing a lot of good games and a lot of good Portuguese games as well.
Lots of good Portuguese games indeed. And that's something that we've been following. Obviously, your association represents teams and studios from big companies with hundreds of employees, but also like single author studios. So you have all this scale that you represent. But as an association, have you been feeling in terms of representation this growth and maturity that indie studios are having year by year in Portugal?
Yeah, definitely. So our association, not my association, so it's the Portuguese one, and we share all the achievements of all the different companies. And as you said, the sample is quite heterogeneous. So we have companies with 400 employees, we have companies just run by one person. We have companies developing for mobile, other for desktop, consoles. So it's quite hard to appeal to all the different desires, but we have something in common, which is to work for the players and understand how we can reach the players in a better way. And for that, usually the solution is quite the same. It's to guarantee that they can get to the best stage possible. They can interact with the audience that they need to interact. And we have been doing that for many years. We were born in 2022, and since then, we have partnered with IndieX for not only recognizing the best Portuguese game, but also to bring Portuguese studios abroad. And we have been working with Game Ibérica, an umbrella by us, APVP, IndieX, the Gaming Hub, Indie Dev Day, now called Game BCN, where we bring studios to the Spanish market. They have a market way stronger than ours in terms of consumption of indie games. So we have been having 4 games in the first year, 6 in the second, 8 in this year, and some of them already got publishing agreements. So with this said, to answer your question, we see that the bigger studios are also giving back to the smaller ones. And the ones that we helped in the first edition of A Game Iberica are now our members as well, and they are helping the new generation. So the feedback loop is there, and we are happy to see that some of them are here, and hopefully they will be in the future supporting the next generation.
And for us, when we talk about this path that the Portuguese industry did, that obviously didn't start in the last 10 years, or obviously started way before that. But I usually give this example, which is Funcom ZPX, because they were finalists of our first event. At the time, it was called Indie Dome, and they obviously their talent was obvious for everyone, and they ended up being a part of a big company here in Portugal. Like they are an office of Funcom, and they developed Dune Awakening recently. Exactly. And it's really good to see this trajectory from indie studios. Another thing I wanted to tell you, because obviously since the inception of APVP, we were aligned in many things, and one of those was precisely that, the vision that we needed to do everything that we could to create a strong network for the Portuguese creators, because there's so many things to gain by getting contact with other people, different realities. And you've also been doing this with even with the local government. Like yesterday, you had an event with close to the parliament to try to bring the creators, the industry to the politicians. How was it, by the way? I didn't ask you before.
Fun. Yeah. So yesterday we had the first, let's say, networking event between the gaming industry and actually policymakers and other public agencies. But yeah, going a little bit back to the way you started the question. Indeed, we see that the market is being consolidated year over year, and it's important to create a new generation of indie studios that eventually might be acquired, might merge with other companies, and keep producing games. And yesterday, in the parliament, we had different MPs and we had different public agencies looking at the industry and realizing there are games, there's a business, there's social impact through games as well. There's culture there, it's not just economics, and indies definitely are the ones that are innovating. They are preparing the next generation of games for players to consume, and it was a big achievement for us. Like we have been, as you said, the industry is not 10 years old, it's almost 40 years old. In Portugal, the first game goes back to 83, and we have seen a lot of games going out and being remastered through the next 3 decades, and definitely since 2010, the industry has been growing, with ZPX being acquired by Funcom, other companies here producing their own titles year over year. And now we are at the stage that the sample is quite heterogeneous, but we have the bigger ones supporting the smaller ones creating a lot of stuff. Some of them are not successful in releasing their games, which happens, but they can find a job in one of these bigger companies. They can go and work for their next project. And right now, the only thing that we are missing is public support, direct public support, and we are working towards that. And hopefully, we're going to see a next set of public policies towards indie development in Portugal.
That's good that you said that, because when we go to Gamescom, obviously Germany is a different dimension, and you see all the regional governments, even the federal government, helping so much even smaller indies and recognizing not just the economical, but also the cultural importance of video games. How far do you think we are now from the general public looking at video games as just a toy or just something minor compared with other realities? When we start noticing that it's easier for you to have a growing video game industry in Portugal and, for example, maybe a cinema one.
Yeah, I think we are not yet there. We are not at the level of Germany, France, Sweden, of course. And in this quarter of this year, we're going to have a report from the EGDF, our main association in Europe, showcasing 4 levels of stages within Europe, and we are definitely in the bottom one. And we are in emergent environment, although we already have companies with 400 employees. Mm-hmm. The goal is not only to create jobs, but to create IPs, and so that they can last, they can generate income for the next generation, and that we can go to the policymaker and make them realize that there's a business here. It's not just toys, as you've said, and there's also artistic value. There's cultural.
Yeah.
There's societal value. You can use games as serious games also to empower schools, to empower teachers, to reach a different audience. So there's a lot of opportunities. We just need to understand where the money is, where we can deploy those funds, and of course, we are we are not ahead of the other European countries, the other state members, but we can learn from their mistakes. And instead of deploying money right now that we know it's not going to be successful, we can decide with evidence from other state members. So we can definitely make a good choice, and we are working with policymakers to go towards that direction.
So, and I actually wanted to take this opportunity that you're here and talking about the Portuguese industry for not as happy moment, because we've just been saying this, like the industry is not 10 years old, it's not 20 years old, it's older. And unfortunately, this year we lost one of our pioneers here in the Portuguese industry. The last time I actually spoke to him was on the IndieX ceremony of 2023 in Cascais. He approached in the end and just spoke about what he was happy to see events like this growing. And obviously, we all wanted to pay homage to one of the great ones and the pioneers of the Portuguese industry, which was Filipe Pina, who unfortunately died a couple of months ago. And he had a game at IndieX in 2018, and even if he wasn't part, obviously for us, he was part of the industry. And the moment we are here, it's also a contribution by him as one of our pioneers for the last 20-something years, and we'd like to recognize that this moment. Not just a game designer or a game creator, also a comic book artist.
Yeah, that's true.
He was a man of the arts, and it's really sad that we lost him, but we couldn't. We had to take the moment to recognize his importance for the industry, and
And now we can make him proud with new games, with new creations. He has been an inspiration to many people, myself included. At Nerd Monkeys, he was one of the first people that I met in the industry, and also the one that portrayed the cultural and artistic value of games in a way that we were not seeing before. So it was, at least for me, the way to get into indie games, coming from somebody that consumed a lot of AAA games.
Yeah. He was also a teacher and also a good supporter of the Portuguese indie. So I think the best moment now to also represent his importance is to look at the 5 best Portuguese games of the close to 40 games that were submitted this year. Yeah. So let's see who are the 5 best Portuguese games curated by EPVP. Amazing games, amazing new games, because I know that you changed the way you curated the games this year. So I was really surprised because I didn't know, I just knew one of them, but the rest I was really surprised. I was really happy. So I actually did all what we call the Portuguese hour. It was 3 p.m. every single day. It was amazing to talk and to play these games. And Diogo, we already spoke about this, and we've been having a few people around that helped us in this last decade, for at least. Even from the outside, that I have a special care for the Portuguese industry, and one of them is actually a board member of the advisory board member for IndieX, which is Jesus Fabri, an independent marketing and business consultant who has been helping so many Portuguese indies for those last 10, 15 years. And obviously, I think it made sense to ask him to pass the passion he has for our local industry, and to have him announce who is the best Portuguese game of 2025. So please, Jesus.
Hello, my name is Jesus Fabre. I work with marketing and business consultancy for indie developers from a while ago, and I have the pleasure to announce here the best Portuguese game for 2025 at IndieX, curated by APVP. This is a game that represents the Portuguese creativity, resilience, and originality. It's called Pantalassa and is developed by Meia Calça Studio. Congratulations.
Pantalassa from Studio Meia Calça, congratulations. It's an amazing experience. I don't know if you watched the streaming session. If you didn't, please go check it when the VODs are available. Well, the VODs are available, but they were all going to be available on YouTube. And I don't know if we can talk with the two authors. Are they available? Yeah?
Not yet.
Not yet? Joe, have you heard about the game before this?
Yeah, they have been with us at Game Iberica.
Yeah.
They did not integrate the mission, but they applied. We had only 6 slots free last year. But the developers came and they appeared at the show as well. They traveled the world to show the game, so they are really committed. And anything that APVP can also support them into growing their audience, just let us know.
And just one curiosity, I was telling Diogo while we weren't live, was the fact that for me it was a big surprise because when we started the streaming session, I think it was 3 days ago, and we were talking about this, and I was congratulating both of them for making it into the cut of the 5 Portuguese games. Miguel, one of the developers, just picks up a plaque from IndieX 2019. He was there with another game, and it was one of those moments that I was really happy to see this, like students that come out of universities. Yeah. They have some good projects, some good academic projects, and a few years later you're gonna meet them and they have a game like Pantalassa, which is it's
incredible. Yeah. And all the games, not only the 5 finalists, but the others that also were part of the Portuguese best game selection. I think it was 38 games.
Yeah.
They could all, most of them, be in other categories as the finalists. Yes. So they are top contenders for big indie games worldwide.
It was, for us, it's always really difficult. We ended up having a Portuguese game on the 50 finalists, Oerbo, which is another example of seeing this, like projects that start in university. Either the developers go to work with bigger companies, maybe use that experience to develop their own projects. Or in the case of Oerbo, for example, it was a project that 7 years ago, I think, it was a university project and it grew to be the game it is now. It's completely astounding. Yeah. And I'm really, really happy. And obviously, you share that happiness to see even the younger generations being as talented as they are.
Because we have a lot of good technical talent in Portugal. Mm-hmm. We have more than 19 institutions that give game dev-related courses, which is a lot. And what we've been realizing, and also that's part of the internship programs that we are working with our members, they just need a little bit of help, a context that can nurture their talent, and they can actually create a business out of developing games. And hopefully we're going to have some big hits in the next couple of years.
Another good thing about the 5 games selected that we actually spoke about it. It's projects that started by just a single developer, projects that started with more than one developer, newcomers, and also veterans like Ground Control that their first game was the finalist in the same edition of our first festival with ZPX.
Okay.
And now they are doing this ambitious 4X game. Today I was telling this to Rui Guedes, like, it's really good to see that the studios and the creators are mature enough to suddenly be able to do this really ambitious projects. And let's see where this generation of younger developers are.
And we have other winners from past years that they have still, they are developing their own games and they already have publishing agreements, but they keep prototyping, keep trying out. And if it doesn't work, they drop and move to the next one. But there's a lot of talent, a lot of games, a lot of content that are being created, and we just need to keep it going and make, as you said, teams are merging together to make them stronger, which is a very positive sign. And if you lack the skill sets in terms of artistic style or sound design, whatever, and you can find somebody that shares the passion, go for it.
And I think in a country as small as ours, and an industry that is, obviously it's not as mature as other countries and other European state members, you feel this pure companionship on developers. They meet and they want to help each other. Even the most experienced ones are available to just even playtest builds. It's a really good thing.
I think it's a burden that a lot of the, not veterans, but the senior members of the Portuguese community, they also felt the same way when they started. So there was no one that started with a huge project and was able to succeed. They all started small, they had to grow, they had to share the pains with their peers. And now they are seeing that in the new generation. And the biggest thing that I can do is just help them. And they have been doing that.
Yeah, and it's good that we have this passing the torch.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I don't know if do we have the, just, you know how, every single year I say this sentence, which is live TV, hey? But sometimes it happens for us to have to wait for some technical issues. And another thing I was noticing about Pantalassa, and they disclosed this during the streaming session, and I've been seeing this with other Portuguese games, and they're also being recognized in other festivals. Like Pantalassa just got into one of the finalists at a German award.
Okay.
We had Gloomy Juncture also being recognized in Japan.
Mid Summit.
Yeah, so it's
Decent games as well.
It's really good. So this is the reality. I think the biggest change I was talking about this with Andre before the ceremony started, and you certainly feel this. It's how I think now the younger generations notice how important it is to create the best network possible and go further with their games without fear.
Yeah.
They have nothing to lose.
And they can find a network of people that can support them. One of the biggest values of having an association like ours is to create the platform and the forum for them to engage with people that already shared their pains in the past. And everybody is very welcoming. Everybody can contribute in somehow. And if not, we can find somebody that can help.
Yeah.
And most times people are willing to do pro bono sessions in mentoring. And we have a lot of those senior developers that are doing that currently and supporting some of the games that we've seen here. And also we start to see some developers, some of them in the top 5 of this year best selection, that are working for larger studios, and they can still do their own games on the side and try to express themselves as an artist rather than just a game developer looking for a big publishing terms.
Yeah, actually, I had a conversation about that with one of the finalists. But now we have the winners. Miguel is here, one of the authors of Pantalassa from Meia Calça. Miguel, congratulations! Or since this is the best Portuguese game, parabéns.
Thank you. Thank you for the technical issues. But just crazy. We weren't expecting it. And I just want to thank the whole team as well for for everything.
Were you expecting this award?
No. I was recently saying that Pantalassa was an award-losing game, but that's not true anymore.
You broke the cycle.
Well deserved.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
It's a really, really amazing game. I would suggest, Miguel, that you're here to ask to everyone that is watching to go. I said this already. You heard me at least 4 times saying this. Please go to Pantalassa Steam page, wishlisted. It's a really amazing experimental game, but also let me extend that to the rest of the finalists because they are amazing games, different games from each other, and it just shows how healthy the Portuguese industry is. So Miguel, let's have Pantalassa fully released because I really want to know more about what's happening. And if my theory is right, we still have that bet on our streaming session.
Right. Well, everybody go wishlist Pantalassa, and thank you for the award.
Look at you look like a pro.
Thank you, Miguel, and good luck. Keep us updated.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Diogo, it's always a pleasure to have you here, to
Thank
have
you.
a PvP as a partner since you started. And it's good that we are aligned, and I know that we still have so many things to do. We already created Game Iberica together, and we have so we have too much road in front of us to walk together.
It's better that way.
Yeah, always. It's always better together. Thank you, Diogo, and the rest of the association for supporting IndieX and for being with us.
Our pleasure.
And let's work for the Portuguese industry together. Yeah.
Thank you so
Diogo.
much.
Bye bye. So now we have a different award now, which we usually it's our penultimate award always. It differs from the rest because it has a special message, which means that you will find here games that are not on the 50 finalists. They weren't streamed, but their message was so important that we needed to recognize their importance. So I'm talking about serious issues, to talk about important issues, and it's with pleasure to talk about the Games for a Better World Award. Then I have here my also good friends. It's really good to do this ceremony because I'm able to chat personally with close friends, and I have a person that dedicated her at least her last decade to mental health and to the positive ways of working with gaming, which is Maria João Andrade. She's now the head of people and culture and head of HR at Aptoide, and also a clinical psychologist. How are you, Maria?
Hello, it's such a pleasure to be here. So thank you for the invitation, and it's always good to collaborate with projects like this.
Because you even since I've met you, you always obviously you have your background as a clinical psychologist, but I remember you were one of the first people I ever had conversations about the importance of video games, even to convey struggles that people have or difficult issues that, for example, AAAs or mainstream media, sometimes they are not allowed to convey.
Yeah, I think that video games have a great power that we don't see, for example, so much in movies. We also see in cinema the big lessons that we can take from media, and we learn a lot from that. But in the video games, you can take part in it. You have an immersion of it. And more and more investigation has been showing the great power of video games in that, and the impact that they can have in our minds even, and in our social behavior. So, for example, we understand that pro-social games, so games that promote pro-social behaviors, empathic behaviors, most of the times translate in pro-social behaviors in life. So people become more cooperative, more understanding with each other. So, and this is shown. Also, the empathic aspect of it, that I think it's very important, because of course that by being in the shoes of another person, or in this case in a character that is showing a serious situation, mental disorders in which there is a big stigma, by taking an active role in a dimension like this, we become more empathetic with what these people feel in these kind of situations, and that translates in good behaviors then in life. So I think it's the big power that video games have.
I have a question for you, but now for the clinical psychologist Maria João Andrade. So let's look at the authors and the way that they, in a sense, they do catharsis with their creations. Because last year we had the game about rape, which is obviously a really difficult subject. This year we have some nominees that convey mental struggles. Some of them, I believe, the author's mental struggles. Do you think it also has a therapeutical importance for the authors, not just for the public, but for the authors?
Of course. In this case, we can look at this like art, right? So when we have a painter doing a painting, is expressing something that is inside him or her. And in this case, in video games, it's kind of the same thing. The idea that emerges and the aspects that the authors want for people to pass through in that journey, I think that they want to show something and they want to pass a message. So it's a piece of art, and it's something to touch someone that will take an active role, an immersive role in that. So I think that, and in this case, even serious games and the impact that they might have in people and games in general, but in this case, these ones that take issues in a different kind of way. They are really important, and they can have a massive educational impact, cognitive impact, and emotional impact. So it's really impressive. Even, for example, I was remembering now for a game that is homeless, that in this case there were studies made with people that have shown more empathy after playing the game. So this is the kind of situation that I'm telling, that the prosocial behaviors and the cooperation and empathy grows with this kind of pieces.
Another difficult question, because yes, I understand that games that address prejudice and obviously, well, like you're saying, like pro-social behavior is helpful for the general public. Let's go to another situation where you have there's a patient with a specific mental struggle. Do you think that playing a game that addresses that specific struggle, either depression, anxiety, or other mental disorders, can actually help the person understand what they are going through?
Yes, totally. We have two examples. For example, a video game called Dojo and a video game called Mindlight. And this Mindlight one, it's really impressive because it's a game that helps children with anxiety to deal with anxiety. It's kind of a character that goes into a scary house, and with Neuralink, they have to light the chandeliers and not have to control their mind and their breathing in order to focus and enter the house and open the light in every division. So it's one of the examples of a video game that embraces that side to help children, in this case with anxiety issues. And the investigation with that game actually have shown that the impact of that game for that specific mental disorder was equal to the cognitive traditional intervention.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
So this is an example of a game that has that massive impact, and the character is experiencing anxiety as well as the player, but they are helping each other in that immersive state.
Okay, but I'm now talking with a clinical psychologist who was a gamer since she was a kid. Is this type of approach becoming more accepted on the community, on the clinical community, or do you think it's more related to specific therapists that actually have that positive connection with games?
Yes, I believe that it's more and more increasing because also there is a lot more investigation to it. I think that when things appear at first, they are always scary, and this world itself was scary at first for many. And it's normal to bring some myths around it at first. But I think that investigation through this last decade has been growing a lot in the field, and not only in the less positive aspects of it, but also in the mostly positive aspects. So I believe that many therapists are bringing these video games and this perspective to people, even with elders, for example, which is amazing even to reduce, not reduce dementia, but preventing dementia from going forward. And it's something that even not so much yet in Portugal, although there are some projects in Portugal, but not so much. But internationally, there are a lot of projects with elder people and with other communities with gaming, and showing this kind of power, and investigation has been showing that it's good and it's powerful, as we see in this example of Mindlight that I was explaining. Yeah.
And most importantly, it's games being able to convey and starting difficult conversations. So, Maria, what I would suggest is for us to see, we couldn't choose just 5, so we nominated 7 games for Games for a Better World. So here are the 7 nominees for Games for a Better World. 7 different games. Well, talking about democracy, talking about anxiety, depression, mental disease, homelessness, and thanks to the indie creators for making us contact with these situations and starting dialogues about this. And Maria, I would like to. So last year we had the winner that I would suggest, and I know you will love. It's called Vampire Therapist, because the concept of the game, he was the winner for Games for a Better World. The concept was if we as humans with a finite life, we have mental baggage. Imagine if we were immortal. How much would we need therapy to deal with ourselves? And that was the concept of Vampire Therapist. That you played obviously a vampire therapist, and you had to learn to go through mental health with other immortal vampires. And we actually asked the winner of last year's edition, Cyrus Nemati. He is the director of Little Bat Games, who won this award last year, to be the one announcing who is going to take the award for Games for a Better World at IndieX 2025. So please, Cyrus.
Hello everyone, I'm Cyrus Nemati, Creative Director at Little Bat Games and winner of last year's IndieX Games for a Better World Award for Vampire Therapist. This award is a special one. Video games have always had limitless potential to entertain, challenge, and educate, but directing a game toward the greater good can be a difficult choice. Games that deepen our understanding of the world around us are difficult to market and harder to monetize. There are no genre conventions for Games for a Better World, no publishers with dollar signs in their eyes. They're passion projects, made because their creators can't help but make them. And IndieX is the first awards show of the year to specifically focus on games that challenge us to view the world differently, helping unearth titles that genuinely improve lives. And this show is the first time this year they'll get the chance for recognition. Vampire Therapist could not have done as well as it did without that initial recognition from IndieX, which is why I'm delighted to present the IndieX 2025 Games for a Better World Award this year to, hold on, I wanted to have an envelope to make it seem fancy. It's just my electric bill, and it's a lot of money. So the award this year goes to A Heavy Morning by Studio SAF Interactive. Congratulations to SAF and to all the nominees in this incredible category. Back to you, IndieX team.
Congratulations, A Heavy Morning by SAF Interactive.
Congratulations.
It is that type of game that obviously who struggled with depression or who struggles with depression will immediately empathize with what's happening, because you have that first-person contact, that artistic first-person contact with the mobile phone, and how heavy your life sounds when you wake up. And I think we actually have one of the authors with us to, let's congratulate.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, you guys. I really, really appreciate this. Thank you.
Ashraf, I think you're representing the team, aren't you? Were the creators expecting this recognition? What did they feel when they knew they were nominated, and now that they actually won the Games for a Better World Award?
Yeah, so honestly, we really were not expecting this. I've seen the other games, and honestly, they're absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, honestly. And I hope everyone gets a chance to check out all the games and not just ours. I think everyone's dealing with super important topics across their games. And, the team as a whole, we really love using games as a means to share our human connection with others. And I'm really glad that this is something that connects with people, and at the very least shows others what some people might go through when it comes to dealing with depression, and how some people can deal with it and how it can feel. And I can't wait for you guys to see the whole game as well.
I just have a quick question for you. So we're talking about a game that obviously conveys a difficult or a hard situation, which is depression. Whoever went through it will immediately recognize from the first seconds of the game. There's also lots of positivity in addressing these topics, aren't they? I would say that maybe there are far more positive far more contribution to doing this that apparently it looks so. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, the more often we're able to talk about this and the more often we're able to share how we feel and how we think, the less we stigmatize things like, mental health as a whole. And this is something that we would love to do and we'd love to share with others. So yes, absolutely. There's always positives in understanding how people are affected and how we're able to help them. And one thing to note as well is our game just shows one version of what depression might look like, but it is not the whole. So we just hope to kind of like shorten the gap in a way and just have people understand a bit more and be a bit more empathetic in, today's climate and everything. But yeah.
I would also say that a heavy morning is important for whoever is struggling with depression, but maybe even more important to the people around, because there's sometimes kind of people around whoever is depressed can't understand what they're going through, and that's why so many times you hear, "Oh, just get better, just be happy," like if it would be easy to actually do so. So there's also important to the community and the families and friends and loved ones of people who are in depression. So thanks a lot for doing this game. Congratulations. Yes, obviously go check A Heavy Morning. Also go check the other games because they make us debate and dialogue so many difficult topics. And thankfully there exist indie developers that are courage enough to make us discuss this. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's really important.
Thank you. Maria, it was really good to see you again. Maria was actually a member of the jury of IndieX 2018. So 7 years later, now here you are. We're older now, but I think we're still, maybe cooler, older and cooler.
It's like wine. We got old and better.
It was really good to talk to you about this. A subject that I know is important for you. You worked a lot in your professional life. You created an association to deal with gaming and mental health, and you've always tried to do something to help people understand more. So it was good to have you here talking about this award.
Yeah,
and
I'm very
really good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. So this is it, the Best of the Show award. So we only released the nominations after our last streaming session. So I think everybody already knows who the nominees for Best Game of 2025 is. And I would like to welcome the person without whom IndieX 2025 wouldn't exist, which is the executive director of IndieX and my good and best friend, João Machado. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Tired?
Very tired.
Yes.
I am, like you said, I wear a lot of hats in IndieX.
Yes.
I am the gatekeeper and the key master of all the games, so everything goes through me. I'm the intern that does all of the social media posts. Every email that every developer, every studio gets, they come from me. So
blame him.
So
okay? Blame him.
Unfortunately, I'm the first one to try all of your games, so
yes.
It's been quite a year this year.
Yeah, and João actually does something. I know we've told this before. When João says that he usually is the gatekeeper of all the games, he does something to keep us as unbiased possible towards the games, which is he removes every single information from the game besides the title and the key or the link to the build. That's because he always takes care that we have the most honest opinion regarding the game. And that happened this year where we had some finalists. I didn't know their country of origin. I didn't know I actually knew some of the studios because they changed so much from one game to the other. And I think that unbiased perspective that you allowed us to have is a really important thing to have.
Yeah, for me it's very important we look at these games as games. It's going to sound very cold, but when we are looking at the games, we don't care about who did them in a way of we don't care of where they're from, who they are, if it's a studio
or a big publisher.
We just look at the quality of the games. And we look at the quality of the games. It could be based on, it's a full-fledged game that has been released and it's a great game. It could be a vertical slice that is filled with potential.
That happened.
We had a finalist this year that I had the pleasure of watching that game grow over the past 4 years. I will not say which one it is. You know who you are. You have applied every single year since 2022. And I saw your game grow into the beautiful piece of work that it is now. And the amazing job that you did in that. And it's great. And I say this also to everyone that did not make it to the finalists. Do not lose hope, because there's people that have tried once, twice, thrice, and they make it. And it's just something that we need to keep an eye on.
And regarding that, I think it's good to have you here, because I wanted to address something else, which is, we always talk about the struggles when the number of submissions increase, but there are two risks when the number of submissions increase. One is the quality remaining stable, which finding 50 finalists isn't difficult. But if we had a graph and we could get like the increase in number of submissions, but also the quality level. An example for this, and we can talk about this backstage, and reveal something behind the curtain to you, just for you to have an idea. The most difficult part was actually finding the 50 finalists. And why? Because we had, like I told you, 934 submissions. João just checked every single one to understand which ones fulfilled every single of our rules, because obviously we want to be as fair as possible with the rules, be it with builds, or if the game was released outside of the contest window. So that left us with 852 games. If we're not going to disclose that, of course, but we're just going to share this. We have an increase and a decrease, which made the task really difficult. One, we usually rate the games from 0 to 100, and it's easier for us to understand the brackets where the games are. And something really, really curious we noticed about this year. From 852 games, the amount of games that were beneath a score of 50 was shorter than any time.
Yeah, it was below 50.
Really, really short. And we understand, because some of the projects that are submitted are still starting, even university projects that are starting, and they have potential, but it's hard to score them. And obviously scoring is something as arbitrary sometimes as you can feel. Obviously there are some points that we follow, but you know how scoring works. The other thing, and that's the difficult part, was when João actually shortlisted the games we awarded 80 plus, which in other editions would guarantee more or less that the majority of those titles would be a finalist. From 80 plus, because João is going to say the number from 85 plus, so from 80 plus was around 260. 80 plus, which would be games that in several editions would be easily finalists. But then from 85 plus, we had
172.
172. And this was the most difficult part, because when we get to this level, it's purely unfair to everyone. Just unfair, because when we started the 50 slots, it was a financial reason. It was the fact that we did, and we want to return. Well, hopefully next year we're going to return. We built 50 booths for everyone, and we paid for ourselves, because our mission is never to profit anything from developers, and we will never do it. So 50 finalists was the amount that we knew that we can pay with our own money to build booths to 50 finalists, and we kept it when the pandemic happened and we transferred to the digital. But now imagine having 50 slots and 172 games, 85 plus. That's just, it made us even think and discuss what we should do in the future. And we want to do something in the future, because honestly, there are simply too many games that apply this year they completely deserve to be showcased because the quality is simply amazing. So, like I was saying in the beginning, don't think that being a finalist or not to this festival or any festival. I know rejection is always hard for us. We're also creators who know how this is, but please, with the most honest of postures that could have is, don't let that affect your self-worth because things are like they are in festivals. And
I can actually say that we had a few arguments when we were selecting the finalists. A lot of them were tied. Some of them were chosen not just because of the quality, because like Ricardo said, the quality was huge. It was also to show the variety of what is done. If you look at our 50 finalists, there are no two games alike.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that some of my personal favorites were not selected for the 50 finalists, which was very painful for me, but there's a lot of games that were worth it, but just we couldn't do them all.
It happened to me the same thing. So many games that we discussed on having as a finalist, but we were looking at two things. This is a digital event, so what type of interaction we could have, and more than anything, diversity. And we had a few games, amazing ones, but they look similar. And that led us to several discussions, even with our advisory board. And we really want to do something about this, and that's why, still striking the iron while it's hot, we want in no longer than 1 month to start at least weekly to showcasing these games that were not selected and showing you and talking with developers and fulfilling our mission, which is in the end helping and showcasing developers and talent across the globe.
Yeah, so our intern, me, will be in touch with some of you very soon to organize new potential showcases to show all of your games.
With this being said, since we just announced who are nominees for Best Game of 2025 before this award ceremony started, I would suggest we would all look at them. Yeah. Amazing games.
Amazing games.
Yeah, I know everyone is waiting to know who is the grand winner of IndieX 2025. And like we said, we're also really proud of the advisory board we have, people that we admire, that are aligned with our mission of helping indies across the globe. Some of them, our personal heroes. And we asked one of our personal heroes, one of my really, really close personal hero that you can't even imagine how happy and how proud I am for to be able to count with this feedback and his participation in this crazy project that we started. A festival we started in 2016, but IndieX, as we know it, in 2018. I would never imagine to say that now we have one of my personal heroes, Shuhei Yoshida, as part of the advisory board and helping us to get IndieX and indies across the globe as far as possible. And without further ado, I would like to ask the legend, the great, the historic member of the industry that helped so many people for decades, that is now proudly a member of of IndieX, Shuhei Yoshida, to announce who the grand winner and best of the show of 2005 is.
Hi everyone, I'm Shuhei Yoshida, CEO of YOSP Inc. IndieX 2025's award winner for Best of the Show, The Seance of Black Manor by Studio Spooky Doorway.
Congratulations, Spooky Doorway.
Congratulations. It is an amazing game.
It is an amazing game. And I was talking about this situation because Spooky Doorway actually were one of the first recipients of our first awards back in 2017 when we weren't still called IndieX at the time, but they joined us in Lisbon, and at the time they had
Dark Side Detective.
Dark Side Detective, and it was one of our finalists and awarded. And I would never imagine, because I don't have access to the studio names, I don't have access to anything. I just realized who they were on the day before the streaming session started, because I looked at the Excel sheet where there were our the streaming slots and the schedule for each of us, and I thought, Seance of Blake Manor, it was done by Spooky Doorway, and it is so good to see studios returning. It happened with several of our finalists and some of our nominees. And it's with
we had a finalist that released 3 games, and 3 games were IndieX finalists.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And this being said, I think we have the grand winners of IndieX 2025 with us, Spooky Doorway. Hello, Paul.
Hi,
Congratulations.
Paul. Hey, folks. Thanks for having me.
Were you expecting this award?
No, not at all. It's wonderful. Thank you very much. We're very surprised because we're launching the game on Monday, so we were all super busy just finishing everything. So awards was the last thing on our mind. Thank you very much, and thank you to all the other nominees who have some great looking games. It's amazing to be listed among so many great people and to ultimately win the prize. So thank you.
It's great to have your release on Monday, and you can put an award on your release.
Yeah.
Saying that you just won an award for best game just a few days before the game going live. I think that's a good marketing boost for the game.
It's a good start, yeah.
It's a really good start. What we usually say, and we proud ourselves to seeing so many successful games, and they having IndieX Awards as like the first awards they ever had.
Yeah.
We just had Cyrus from Vampire Therapist with his BAFTA nomination behind him and saying, IndieX was my first award ever.
Yeah.
And we're really happy to have the Seance of Blake Manor as the first award. The first of many, we hope.
We're sure.
We hope so too,
We're
but
sure.
thank you very much. We'll wear it with pride on our Steam page.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Paul.
congratulations to you, to Traça and Dave, that we've met a few years ago here in Lisbon. And the best of luck. Don't forget, I'm always saying this, you can actually look at the wishlist the game, because it's going to be released in 3 days?
On Monday.
On Monday.
On Monday, yeah.
Monday, it's really, really close by. It's as fresh as freshly baked bread. So please
I was
go
going
check
to say
it.
Irish Pie because the game is.
Oh, Irish.
The game is
from Ireland.
It's from Ireland.
I just missed the opportunity to do. Yeah, obviously. Congratulations, Paul. It's a really amazing game, and I didn't have the opportunity to have a streaming session with you. It was supposed to be me, but I have a personal problem because I really wanted to ask you something, and luckily you're here for me to ask you. The Seance of Blake Manor is such a departure from what I've played all your previous games, and suddenly I would never recognize it as one of your games. When did you decide to risk so much? Because this game has a lot of risk in it.
It's kind of hard to say, but like we enjoyed making the Dark Side games, and there was a lot of fun being funny in those games and celebrating those characters. But we never really had an opportunity to explore our own culture in a video game, and we never seen it explored well. So it was just this opportunity for us to bring all like these ideas we had for spooky, dark stories together in one big story. So yeah, it's kind of it was just in there, and we had to come out. I suppose you could say.
Paul, congratulations to you and all the team at Spooky Doorway. And thank you for being part of IndieX 2025.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you,
And
Paul.
before I go, I'd just like to say thank you to my whole team who worked on the game. Dave and Traça and I really appreciate all the work everyone put into the game. And this is going to be wonderful for them in the morning when they've discovered that we've won our first award before we even launched. So thank you very much for having us, folks.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
And this is it.
That's it.
But we still have something to do, don't we?
Yes, we do.
This is on Backstage our biggest battle of this year. But we can announce and open.
Is it there?
Just doing
magic,
strange stuff to the camera. This.
Not yet.
This.
There you go. This.
Yeah. Here it is. IndieX 2025, the Steam event, Steam sale. Please go there. I spent the entire week saying to everyone, go wishlist the games. This is gonna turn your job way easier because you just have to, in one single place, try everything, try demos, wishlist the game. Don't forget that helps the developers a lot with investors and publishers, and also to the actual studios because they want that type of engagement. So please do so. And I would also like to, before we go, to thank obviously the rest of the team. First of all, Johnny Rodrigues, which I just saw that arrived now. I'm seeing there on the backstage. Our art director that, he's been doing all this amazing visual stuff for IndieX all these years. Also Brian Sirogorgeson, our newest member that joined us this year and helped us a lot during Gamescom. Also our advisory board, we've already seen some of them this year. Our families, because having to leave us to do this crazy thing yet another year is something remarkable. Every single developer that submitted their games, it trusted their games and trusted IndieX to play their games and showcase their games. Thanks a lot. Congratulations to all the finalists. And on the production team, the team from E2 Tech that did all the streaming production. Amazing as always, what can we say? And obviously here in this house, the team from RTP Arena, which are always amazing and always gets us so well. And Johnny, do you want to get to the final plan? You want to go? I know you don't have a microphone, but come here. Are you well dressed? Johnny just arrived.
Are you dressed at all?
This is happening because of Johnny, so let's...
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to appear on the camera.
Just appear on the camera.
Here's Johnny. Hey. Here's Johnny.
I'm very awkward right now and I don't have a chair.
So, thank you all. We're gonna return really, really, really soon. We promised that now. Last year we wanted to do this and we couldn't. So we really want to work on having our own, starting our own streamings with honorable mentions, with finalists, to know how the games are, if they are released in early access, how they are. We want to keep indies and keep this moment that we all love, which is playing games while talking with developers, alive across the year. And also now we had elections, it's already time to knock on doors because we really want to have IndieX 2026 as a physical edition and obviously as an online edition. To everyone at home watching us, that supported us, that stayed at the chat, that played the games, all the developers, these amazing guys that made this possible, everyone backstage, thanks a lot. For Indies, by Indies. Never forget it.